Pico Rivera, we're going to be calling our city council meeting for September 12, 2023 to order. And Mr. City Manager, if we have any changes to the agenda.
Yes, Mayor, pulling item number 15 for the next council meeting.
Very good. Item number 15 is pulled. And Madam City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Camacho.
Here.
Mayor Lutz.
Here. Thank you for that. And now we're going to move on to our invocation provided by Council Member Dr. Monica Sanchez, followed by the flag salute by Councilmember John Garcia. If we can all stand.
Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon us and our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'd like to acknowledge our commissioners in attendance today, our Planning Commissioner, Tommy Elizaldes. Thank you, sir, for attending, and our Parks and Recreation Commissioner, Pat Salcedo. Thank you for attending today's meeting. Now, our next item is our special presentation, and that special presentation is the historic Whittier Boulevard update, and we're all excited because that's all part of Pico Rivera 2035. And Mr. City Manager and Director Javier Hernandez, if you can kindly provide us with that presentation.
Great, Mayor, City Council. We're really excited for this presentation. As you know, we've been working diligently on PR 2035. Historic Whittier Boulevard is one component led by a collaboration of our director, Javier Hernandez, also Public Works, Noe Negrete, and also Alvi Betancourt from Community and Economic Development.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity as always. I won't bore you too much with a great level of detail with respect to all things happening on Whittier Boulevard. Many of you are already very familiar with our efforts to revitalize the corridor and, of course, Durfee Avenue as well. I just want to give you a couple highlights of some of the things that we've done over the last several months, the type of input that we've gotten from our community, and then also outline some of the things that are soon to happen over the course of the next several months. And you'll see I have a couple of youth with me as well from our respective community. We'll get into that part in just a little bit, give them an opportunity to shine here. So first and foremost, over the last several months, we've undertaken a very comprehensive outreach and engagement effort related to all things Whittier Boulevard. So a couple of highlights from this particular slide. I know it's a little bit busy. We're going to provide you with the full document on this so you can read it in at your leisure in detail. But right off the bat, we want to just make sure you're aware that we have done over 30 events where we have engaged with the public on this particular effort. As a result, we have directly been involved with over 2,000 people who have given us some degree of feedback, whether that be surveys, whether that be direct interactions, whether that be conversation, participating in town halls, virtual meetings, community events, etc. So a lot of input, as you can see. On top of that, we've done a lot of events, as I mentioned, over 30. But one of the things that was really important is the fact that we did diverse events, right? Giving everybody an opportunity to participate some way or another. Really not leaving any excuse for us to engage our communities. So we went to local community groups, presented to the Chamber of Commerce, for example, in their environment. We went out and hosted booths at the Summer Street Fest. We'll be this Friday at the Fiestas Patrias. We've presented to the city councils, the commissions, to the school boards, et cetera. So we're really making an effort to go to folks versus them coming to us. On top of that, as a result of all of the input and early analysis that we've done on the existing conditions along Whittier Boulevard, we've produced a final existing conditions and engagement report, and this is where you really have the meat and potatoes with respect to what that corridor looks like from a roadway configuration perspective, what it looks like from an economic development perspective, some of the things that are working really well for the corridor, other things that aren't working very well. So one thing in particular we wanted to highlight in today's existing condition, we see, based on the analysis, that we have over 60% of all traffic on Whittier Boulevard that drives through Pico Rivera. And that's a trip that doesn't start or stop or in Pico Rivera. So one of the things that we're looking to do with this revitalization effort is to figure out ways to get people to stop. How do we become an attraction and capture some of that 60% so that they can shop, dine, hang out in Pico Rivera? Because on top of that, all of that traffic also has impacts, right? We also see some of the things that we find in the corridor is that Whittier Boulevard is number 2 on the high injury network. We're also finding that we have an excess of parking in the corridor study area as well. So we're looking to evaluate everything we possibly can in this corridor with an eye towards, again, revitalizing. So this is perhaps the pride and joy of this entire effort, right? We're undertaking this very robust, this very advanced planning effort. But one of the things that we set out to do at the very, very beginning was to establish a youth ambassador program. And the overall intent for that program was to expose youth, right, from our community to education and career pathways in urban planning, in transportation, in civil engineering, in architecture, all the things that we are doing as a part of this process, right? We have consultants that come on board to do a lot of the technical work. Well, one of the things that we required our consultants to do is to teach, train, and help mentor these youth so that they can learn the tools and tricks of the trade. And then hopefully one day we hire them here in Pico Rivera, right, if indeed there is that interest. But to help us with this, we also brought on a local nonprofit organization who I'd like to introduce at this point. We had Angelique and Mario from Day One, a community-based organization.
Hello, everyone. Oh, let me put this down a little bit. My name is Angelique Lopez. I'm with Day One, and we're a public health nonprofit that specializes in capacity building as well as youth development. So the main goal of this project and to bring us on is to really help amplify youth voices and to incorporate them into the historical Whittier Boulevard process. With that, we're partnering with the El Rancho Unified School District as well as the Boys and Girls Club, as well as the Sheriff's Station, their Explorer program, and last but not least, the USC School of Public Policy to really incorporate and provide youth with fruitful youth development workshops. And I'll pass it back to Javier.
Thank you very much, Angelique. So one thing I did want to highlight with respect to the Youth Ambassador Program is what Angelique just mentioned is the City of Pico Rivera has officially partnered with USC's School of Public Policy, Sol Price, with their graduate program. And so ultimately, you can't go to USC and there's this site design graduate level program unless you come to Pico Rivera, identify a site, and design it from head to toe. And of course, those graduate level students are gonna get critiqued and input from our youth ambassadors, right? So the youth ambassadors are gonna get direct exposure and partner with USC graduate level students to understand exactly what it takes to get a master's degree in urban planning. And then ultimately, we wanna use the youth ambassadors, the program as a whole, as a recruitment tool to hopefully eventually get these youth into a school like USC or Cal State Long Beach or Cal State LA or Cal Poly Pomona and other universities that we're looking to partner with on this. And to provide you a little bit of background, on the youth ambassadors, or at least to hear it from them themselves, I'd like to introduce Ali and Ricardo from our program, and allow Ricardo to come up first.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo Cano. A little bit about myself. I've been a part of the Pico Rivera community for about 16 years now. I've been here since I was 2 years old. I grew up living with my grandparents. I recently just graduated from St. Pius X St. Matthias Academy, located in Downey, and I'm now pursuing an education in health sciences at California State University, Long Beach. A little bit about the program, the Historic Whittier Boulevard program, and how I heard of it was I saw online a social media post, an interactive post, and I was like, you know what, let me check this out. And I got to see, you know, what we did was we were in what was known as the Idea Lab, where we were able to really do an environmental scan of Whittier Boulevard and see what it looks like now, and then we heard what it can turn into and how we can better our community. A little bit about my education goal. I hope to pursue, again, a degree in health sciences, and I hope that I can apply that with the Youth Ambassadors program, because it's important to not only be an economic system, but also recognize our health. And, you know, I'll pass it to Ellie, and she can talk a little bit more about what we've done.
Hello, I'm Ellie Mejia. I'm another one of the Youth Ambassadors, and I'm currently a senior at El Rancho High School. So we had our first meeting here in the City Council chambers, and we continued to have several more meetings over the summer. And we had our first events as well, the Summer Street Fest. And during those events, we helped with the community outreach for the Whittier Historic Boulevard project. And we partnered with Self-Help Graphics to give away, so there are 100 live printed tote bags to really incentivize community feedback. And it was a great experience. It was definitely gave me a space to grow professionally and to really get to explore the pathway. We plan to have more standing meetings over the course of 12 weeks and really just focus on our main goals, which are youth recruitment, youth engagement. And lastly, our last event will be on the 15th, Fiestas de Patrias. We're going to be working again with Self-Help Graphics to give out tote bags and to get community feedback. We look forward to bringing the youth voice to the city and to the project. Thank you for your time. I'm going to pass it back to Javier.
Thank you, Ellie. All right, just to touch on that was practically everything we've done so far. Very exciting work, as you can see, but we've got quite a bit of ways to go as well. So one of the things that we have live on our website now is community survey number 2 that dives a little bit deeper into some major elements that we can or potentially incorporate into the corridor, everything from open space, roadway reconfigurations. But I gotta say, you know, one of the interesting things about this ambassador program is that they have been incredibly instrumental with helping us with outreach and engagement, right? It is impossible for me to go and talk to all 63,000 residents, but if we can establish a team to help us in that outreach and engagement effort, that's why you see all of these spikes on these particular days, because they've been helping us with that outreach and engagement. And that's why, unlike any other survey we've ever had in there.
First, welcome back to the chambers. Hopefully everybody's excited to be here. I know I am. So just real quick on this slide, Javier and his team doing a great job on this. Really, we're trying to develop our identity as a city, and part of the way to do that is in the roadway. So on the top left, you have the existing conditions, 3 lanes in one direction, 2 in the other. What we're looking at doing is bringing this bit down to those 4 other configurations, is bringing it down to 2 lanes in each direction. If you go on the Montebello side, it is 2 lanes already. If you go on the Whittier side, it's already 2 lanes already. We're the only ones that has the extra 3rd lane. So it'll match on our bookends. And really what we're trying to look at is our vulnerable road users. So Javier gave me that term, and I told him I was going to steal it from him. So it's really our people that are walking on the sidewalk, riding a bike, or using a bus in transit. And what we saw, he's correct, in our local roadway safety plan that we just did a couple of months ago, this corridor of Whittier Boulevard was ranked number 2 as the most in need in terms of safety improvements. And the intersection at Rosemead and Whittier was also ranked number 2 in terms of proposed safety improvements needed. So what we're looking at is separating the pedestrians, the bikes, or the transit from those cars. And those are the 3 alternatives that you're seeing here. Again, those are all being considered now, and as we get further along the process, we'll eventually narrow that down to 1. Thank you.
What did you call the term again for the users?
Vulnerable road users.
Got it.
And give it credit to Javier. Thank you.
And then at the same time, not only are we looking at all things within the public right-of-way, but we're also looking at new land uses along the corridor as an opportunity to hopefully promote economic development along the corridor. Obviously, Whittier Boulevard has been identified as one of those corridors where we can accommodate future housing needs. Exactly how many new units to be determined, obviously, it's subject to a lot more input and review from all stakeholders. But I'll pass it to Alvi to kind of highlight a few things with respect to the specific plan and how it serves as an asset for us here in the community. And just a couple of visuals to showcase here. So this is the existing condition today. What it could look like in 15 years, subject to a lot more input.
Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to speak to you today. The specific plan, any specific plan that any municipality embarks upon is a plan for the future. It doesn't happen overnight, but with that plan, you have a vision of where you can go, what the possibilities are. It takes into account public input. You as policymakers drive that story. We simply put it in writing. Here in this instance, Whittier Boulevard could entertain all kinds of development. It doesn't mean it has to happen exactly this way, but it could. Next slide. So here you have a visualization of maximum build-out. Will this happen? There are no guarantees that any percentage of this will happen, but with an SP in place, you have guides, you have standards, you have some way of controlling how that development does occur. It's a planning tool that really offers safety for a community because it encapsulates their vision and ensures that once we're gone, that vision stays in place. Thank you.
And again, just to highlight, what you see today is not necessarily what we're proposing. We're just simply using it for a purpose of analysis and then, of course, further review and input from all stakeholders. So last slide here, we're going to be sending out a series of invitations. Sorry, we don't mean to bombard you, but we have a lot of really exciting activities, planning events, workshops, trainings, etc. coming up. I know the mayor joined us on our last city tour in the city of Orange. We're going to be doing another city tour. We'd certainly open that up to all of our council members to participate. But this is just to give you an idea of what's to come all the way through the end of the year. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Great. Thank you, Director Hernandez. I'd like to thank Director Negrete and Director Betancourt for the presentation. And I have to say that Ricardo and Ellie were very well spoken and representative of Pico Rivera. That makes us all proud of you and a continued collaboration with us in our projects. I do have a question. If we went back to that last slide where it showed Whittier Boulevard, Rosemead, and Paramount, if the subsequent slide, the very second to the last slide.
Oh, second to last, let's see.
Which showed the forecast 30 years from now. So the majority of a specific plan would be on the south side of Whittier Boulevard, is that correct?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we do find that we have a lot more available open space and land that to accommodate new growth. But we are also looking at the north side as well as on Durfee Avenue. We just don't have it all illustrated on this one slide, but we have a number of slides. And one of the other things that we'd like to do is also invite each and every council member to a dedicated session where we can go a little bit deeper into the details on the analysis and additional visualizations as well.
Got it. I know when a city is embarking on a growth of a particular boulevard, part of that is building a parking structure. And could you explain to everybody how vital that is to historic Whittier Boulevard project?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's certainly no question that one of the things that we're looking to do along this corridor is to promote multimodalism, right? And then that's just, again, with an eye towards improving safety for all users. And like Director of Public Works mentioned, vulnerable road users, everything from pedestrians, bicyclists, people with disabilities, seniors, youth who don't drive, are considered vulnerable road users. So we have to figure out ways to accommodate for their safe ability to move around in and around the corridor. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not planning for the car. It's just not the primary priority. Safety for vulnerable road users is the priority. Because we do have to plan for vehicles nonetheless, especially for electric vehicles, one of the things that we're looking at is where and how we can accommodate for strategically located parking garages along the corridor. Obviously, we don't want to saturate the corridor with too many parking garages. We want to be mindful about, the right amount of parking for retail or commercial use or for residential use and things like that. So it's going to be a careful balance. There's no question about that. And that's all the more reason why we need to capture more and more feedback and do technical analysis to help ultimately find that fine balance.
Really looking forward to that. I'm imagining those parking structure or structures incorporated, so now we actually attract that traffic that comes through Pico Rivera would now stop and shop and dine and enjoy and walk our historic Whittier Boulevard corridor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we have any commentary from the rest of our council?
I actually just have some comments. First of all, I want to thank Ricardo and Eli and this ambassadors program through this process to incorporate them into this, because I think this is, as we talk about the future, 30 years from now, they're going to be the ones that are going to truly value and direct the future of our city. So it's great that we've incorporated them into those pictures. And we've always talked about youth leadership, and we've talked about creating a youth commission, so you just gave me more ideas to elevate this a little quicker. But nevertheless, thank you, Director Hernandez, for taking this really to the direction of not only as we talk about Pico Rivera as a whole in its growth and its economic development opportunities that we have, valuing our assets throughout the area, but specifically looking at Whittier Boulevard as the historic boulevard that it is, and really diving into these specific areas and, truly looking at the potential from, I've said this before, we talked about new state laws that are coming our way that have high-density housing that is pushing us to build more housing. And these are the corridors that we begin to look at for future housing, but also in the nature creating our uptown or downtown, or, this is where it's going to morph towards. So I think we're going in the right direction. This is a great update. I know there's a lot more to come and more planning, but the vision set forth, you and staff and everybody's making it come to fruition. And I do foresee this, coming one way or another, with the plan. So again, thank you for the presentation and the update. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I just want to echo some of the sentiments by my colleagues. Thank you for all your hard work. Director Hernandez, also I was just very impressed with our two ambassadors who spoke, just so well spoken. I mean, to be that young and to be able to have that such poise and command and speaking ability, your futures are very bright, and we're very proud of that. Just one item I want to touch on, a small detail, is design standards. And it's an item that we vote on later today, awarding a contract on design standards. But it's important because, you'll drive down Whittier Boulevard and you'll see the exterior of a business, and it's mismatched. It's something from the 60s, something from the 80s, the colors are loud, and then something next door, it just doesn't make sense. But it goes back to having planning and design standards, and I've seen some of that that's come out. Not only is it just the planning and what we want, but we want to make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing for our community and there's consistency throughout, so you don't have this mishmash of exterior storefronts. So, those are some of the things that staff has been working on. I applaud them. They've made a lot of progress, and along with my colleagues. Thank you.
If I may.
Yes.
Thank you. How many youth ambassadors do we have, and what's the age range and qualifications and requirements for the ambassadors?
Yeah, I'll invite Angelique to expound on it a little bit, but we have anywhere between 10 to 12 youth ambassadors who participate regularly. But with respect to the criteria for participation, I'll leave that up to Angelique here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So at the moment, we have 10 active youth ambassadors that we've retained from the summer. And then as of recently, we've acquired 12 more. So like Javier said, between 10 to 15, around that range. The age group that is mostly engaged with us are high school students, so anywhere from 9th grade to 12th grade. That is our primary youth age, but of course, we'd love to expand that in time.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to Ali as well, was our Parks Commissioner for the city, our youth commissioner. So thank you, Ali, for your continued leadership. So, and thank you, Ricardo, as well. Ricardo, yes, for coming in and having the courage to come and present to us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I would just like to reiterate what my colleagues shared as well. Thank you for your sacrifice, your commitment to the future of Pico Rivera. We still got a long ways to go, and we really applaud your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, with that, thank you, Director Hernandez, for that great presentation.
Thank you, Council.
Pico Rivera is going places, and this is just one of the very few projects. Yeah. Now, moving on to public hearing, we have two items. Public hearing item number 1, which is establishing a tobacco retail license fee. Yeah, we're going to go ahead now and open up that public hearing. Mr. City Manager, do we have any memos?
None.
Madam City Clerk, do we have any written communication or
There were none, Mayor.
oral communication?
There were none received.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and can we have a motion?
So moved?
All right.
Second?
So we have a first from Councilmember Camacho, a second from Councilmember Dr. Sanchez. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara,
Yes.
Mayor Lutz.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Moving on now to public hearing, item number 2, which is approval of the fiscal year 22-23 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report for submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We'll go ahead, open the public hearing. Mr. City Manager, any memos?
There are none, Mayor.
Written communication, Madam City Clerk?
There were none.
Oral communication?
None received.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and may we have a motion?
I'll move, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Second.
A second, all right. A first from Councilmember Garcia and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Lara. Any discussion? All right, and we'll go ahead. Madam City Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara,
Yes.
Mayor Lutz.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we'll go ahead, close the public hearings, and move on to the next item, which is public comments. And public comments, we have a total of 3. And if we can have Mr. John Soto, please come up to the lectern. Mr. Soto, you have 3 minutes, and you may begin now.
Okay, so many nice things going on in Pico and Whittier Boulevard. I hate to put a damper on things, but I remember dropping my mom going with my mom to drop off my dad on Whittier Boulevard, and cars be zooming to go to work in LA. It's like a freeway. Okay. There has been a couple of loud, intrusive music events at golf course recently. Things got, okay. A letter of resolution would give us the peace of mind that we need to hold family events without the golf course playing loud, intrusive music. The golf course thinks that since the neighborhood has events, that entitles them to hold events. That is wrong. As I stated 8 or 9 months ago, our neighborhood is accepting of each other holding events because they are family related and the events are very seldom. Also, we pay huge amounts of taxes. The golf course events are for profit for people, most of which are from out of town. They speed in and out of the parking lot and have no regard for the residents. For several months, we were told that to be patient, that the sound report was coming. We were patient, and when it came, we were disappointed. Pam Uger's department has already agreed to quit having outdoor events, closing the sliders, placing placards, asking the public to respect the nearby residents. I don't believe the placards are in place yet. However, this does not go far enough. Even with the sliders closed, the music is loud and intrusive to our neighborhood. We said from the beginning, if we can hear the music in our yards and or in our homes, that is violating our rights as homeowners. The golf course is in violation of the city and county ordinance. I recently learned that they are also violating Penal Code 415-2. On August 2nd, I told the sheriff's dispatcher I wanted to file a complaint against the golf course. I have not heard from them yet. In the last 8 months, I have called the sheriff's office 22 times complaining about the music. A report has yet to be filed by a deputy. I guess it's time to they started to do so. Next time we will go to the office, and of course there's legal options. It was said in previous meeting, referring to the sound report, that the residents may not like what it is, but what it is what it is. That was an insult, especially after we examined the report. This was like telling us, here's a rotten fish sandwich, now eat it. Therefore, in addition to a letter of resolution, we want and deserve a letter of apology. Believe me, our neighborhood petitioners are united on stopping the loud, intrusive noise. As a matter of fact, we have received more signatures added to the petition in the last few weeks. The golf course has tried to contact a couple of our neighbors, but believe me, they stand with the neighborhood. Our neighborhood has been on the level with you in all aspects of our complaint. We have been upfront and honest. It has been the opposite from the city and the golf course. We have been lied to, lied about, ignored, and other demeaning tactics. The golf course personnel have lied to the deputies on several occasions. In addition, we have not been kept in the loop by email or phone calls. Okay? And I know that some of you are in the, I just found out some of you are in the golf clubs up there. You should have known.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Thank you for your comment. And now, our next public comment is from Lauren Talbot, LA County Public Libraries. Ms. Talbot?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lauren Talbot, and I'm the Community Library Manager at Pico Rivera Library and Rivera Library. We have some great programs coming up in September. September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. Anyone who signs up for a new library card at any LA County library will receive a free tote bag and pencil case. Pico Rivera Library now has digital assistants, thanks to ISD, ready to assist customers with basic computer help and digital literacy training. They are available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and on Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can call the library to make an appointment. The Pico Rivera Library Book Club will be meeting next Tuesday on September 19th at 6 p.m. to discuss the book House of Broken Angels for Hispanic Heritage Month. Copies of the book are available at the library for checkout. We have free diapers, sizes 1 through 5, pads and tampons available for pickup at the Pico Rivera Library during our open hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Talbot. And now our final public comment is from Lorena Avalos. Ms. Avalos, if we can kindly have you come up to the lectern, and you have 3 minutes, and you can start now.
Good evening, everyone. We are greatly appreciative that the city presented the signage sheet which highlights the 3 Mexican sister cities, and we are here to respectfully ask councilors and members that Chapala, Jalisco be added as the 4th sister city to this important project to both cities. My name is Lorena Avalos, and I proudly come from a Chapalense family. My life has elapsed between 2 countries, the United States of America and Mexico, and was raised under the principles and values of a hardworking family, Mexican family, with the integrity and courage of the culture and the efforts of this great country that has given me so many opportunities for myself and my country. Chapala and Pico Rivera have many things in common. One of them is being the home to numerous families originally from Chapala who have chosen Pico Rivera to reside peacefully in a safe city, but because of time constraints, I can't mention them all. And they are doubly fortunate in returning to their origins in Chapala and yet settling down roots here in Pico Rivera. I am one of them who has been a proud homeowner in this beautiful city for over 22 years and a homeowner in Chapala as well. One other important similarity is our focus on the importance of education, and would love to proudly add that Chapala has an established educational satellite to the prestigious Universidad de Guadalajara that would give the opportunity to our El Rancho graduates to study abroad in beautiful Chapala in this renowned university. Both cities, Chapala and Pico Rivera, have a lot to contribute and share, such as experiences of good government practice in topics such as recreations, culture, security, citizen services, and public services, which would contribute to improving the conditions of our citizens and their families. Chapala will also offer the people of Pico Rivera a magical experience when you visit. The magic is in the hospitality of its people, in its tourist areas of its riverside towns, in its gastronomy, in its beautiful climate and landscapes that its imposing lake gives us year-round, the largest lake in Mexico, Lake Chapala. Chapala and its surroundings are a haven of health and tranquility for its people. It is the destination of many Americans, Canadians, and other people from all parts of the world who choose it as its refuge. The migration phenomenon between both countries and cities is in both directions, from south to north and vice versa. From the south, we come looking for job opportunities and contribute to the greatness of this country. From the north, they seek to enjoy its beauties and tranquility and the long-lasting affection of its people and sisterhood. Both cities have a lot to contribute to their citizens. Let's make that dream come true and make Chapala, Jalisco, the fourth sister city of Pico Rivera. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Avalos. Thank you for that. Now we'll close up the public comment and move on to the consent calendar. Our consent calendar contains 3 items, from item 3 to item 11. And if we could,
So move as recommended.
Second.
all right, we have a first from Councilmember Camacho, a second from Mayor Pro Tem Lara. And do we have any discussion? No? All right, Madam City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia? Yes. Councilmember Camacho?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Lutz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Mayor, if I may, just wonder.
Item 11?
Of course. Right in front of me, and I just want to make sure we don't, although it's in the consent calendar, I just want to do a warm welcome to our new city clerk. You've been pretty much holding the reins for some time. You've had a great mentor, and I know you're going to be doing a great job for the city of Pico Rivera. So welcome on board as the official city clerk of Pico Rivera. You've done a great job. Now you can slip that interim.
Thank you for all your help. Ever since I've been here on city council, you've been so helpful, so kind, and I'm so happy that you're the new city clerk.
Same, I want to say congratulations, and we're happy to have you, and we know that you'll do well, so thank you so much.
Cynthia, I've seen you grow from parks. I've seen you come into the main office. You've always maintained the professionalism. This is well-deserved. Congratulations.
Cynthia, I'm proud to say that you are our city clerk of Pico Rivera, and you have always been a part of the dream team, and we're very, very proud of you. Yeah, so I also would like to take this opportunity to see if we can just take a nice group picture with you in the center.
My daughter.
We'll have her come up.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
You gotta make a speech now, too.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh, just mother and daughter.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Madam City Clerk, no pressure from this point forward, okay? We just documented.
I know.
All right, we're moving on now to our regular agenda, and that is items 12 to 14. 12 to 14, item number 15 is no longer part of the agenda. And item 12 is the first reading, an ordinance amending section 2.55.040, meetings, time and place, to chapter 2.55, Veterans Commission of Title II, Administration and Personnel of the Pico Rivera Municipal Code. And for this item 12, do we have a motion?
If I may.
Yes.
I read the ordinance section regarding the commissions that, I would like to add the suggestion perhaps that there be a requirement that the individuals be residents of the city, or have business or employed by the city. So if they don't live in the city, maybe they're working for some type of business.
That's on the next item.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry, I thought that was under number 15.
Yeah, on this.
Or 13,
Yeah, on this
sorry.
particular item, we're just cleaning up some language because the meetings were monthly. The commission agreed to have them on a quarterly basis.
Got it. For item number 13.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll say that.
12.
12.
Yeah, we'll move to 13, which is the item you're discussing.
Well, we're doing, okay, got it. We're
Item
not doing
12
them
is
all
the one, is the Veterans Commission. I think the one, doctor, that you're referring to is the next item, so.
Right. And in our, to double check, I don't remember the veterans one. Is it a requirement of the Veterans Commission to be a veteran, to be a resident?
Yes, it is.
Got it. Okay.
This only cleans up the number of meetings they have. So that right now it's monthly, they wish to go quarterly.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you for recognizing me, Mayor. But I wanted to add, that last part that you added on where if they're not a resident, a veteran could be a business owner or work for the city. I don't think that that's part of our,
No.
No.
that's not part.
No.
Is that something you'd like to make, or
For the next.
Is, for the next, would that be number
For the
for the sister
13?
cities?
Yes, 13.
Okay, okay, sister, got it,
Yes.
okay.
I'll move the motion that we move forward with the veterans.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve from Councilmember Garcia and a second from Councilmember Camacho. Do we have any additional discussion?
So just a point of clarification, it is only regarding the meetings, time, and place. Correct?
That is correct.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the discussion, and let's move on. Madam City Clerk, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Lutz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item number 13, and that would be a first reading of an ordinance amending Section 2.54.020, the membership term, to Chapter 2.54, the Sister City Commission of Title II, Administration and Personnel of the Pico Rivera Municipal Code. And on this item 13, do we have a motion?
I would motion, I'll motion, however, with my suggestion in terms of if they are not a resident, they have either are employed or a business owner or have that type of business interest in the city.
We'll note those changes if there's consensus on council.
I'll second that amendment.
Okay.
And do we have first from Councilmember Dr. Sanchez and a second, Councilmember Camacho? Do we have any additional discussion? So I did want to ask Mr. City Manager on this one here, if not a resident, if not a business owner, if not a city employee, does this amendment allow for some individual with experience in sister cities not qualifying under those three categories that I just mentioned be allowed to be a sister city commissioner?
Not with the recommended changes.
All righty, very good. And Madam City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Lutz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And moving on to item number 14, approve the Smart Waste Collection Pilot Program at Smith Park and purchase agreement with Big Belly Incorporated.
Yes, Mayor, we have a presentation for that item.
Great.
I'd like to bring up Victor Farrar, General Manager, Office Sustainability and Prime.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, staff seeks the City Council's direction on a potential pilot program at Smith Park to improve the quality of life, operational efficiency, and further environmental stewardship. Finally, a representative from Big Belly is here tonight to answer any detailed questions you may have. First, I would like to provide some essential background. The state of California has adopted some of the most ambitious waste diversion goals in the U.S. Most recently was SB 1383, which requires local governments to divert organic waste to targets of 75% by 2025. To address ambitious climate-related mandates, the city created the Office of Sustainability. The city's leadership in sustainability is evident as Pico Rivera is among 6 of 78 cities in Los Angeles and Orange counties with dedicated sustainability departments. The city responded to SB 1383 by amending its waste contract with NASA to include organic waste collection, organic waste collection services, outreach and educational programs, and SB 1383 implementation fees. These dedicated fees were meant to fund activities to achieve the mandated goals. Staff believes that SB 1383 fees can be efficiently used by thoughtfully identifying and implementing multi-beneficial projects. An opportunity was identified at city parks where staff observed waste bins being misused and realized this could be a potential project. The 3 pictures seen here are from Smith Park, where one can find mostly tin bins with exposed tops. These current design and single bin configuration at Smith Park can be revised for 4 reasons. First, the single bin configuration hinders the ability to recycle. Second, the bin's design allows critters to rummage through trash. Third, the tin bins weather easily and must be maintained frequently to retain aesthetics. Finally, the bins must be collected routinely, which causes some bins to overflow with trash, while others are collected when partially full. To address these 4 issues, staff identified an innovative solution: Big Belly Smart Waste Bins. Big Belly's fully enclosed design allows trash to stay where it should be, inside. The Big Bellies are also equipped with solar panels and batteries to power a compactor that increases waste capacity by 3 times, and sensors to notify staff when bins are full and ready to collect. These 2 features allow staff to collect trash less frequently, giving park maintenance staff more time to address other maintenance needs. Staff study Smith Park as a candidate for this pilot program as it experiences high foot traffic and generates high volume of waste. Smith Park currently has 48 waste bins. As you can see in the yellow dots from this map, most of the stations are made up of single bin systems. Staff proposes to install 50 Big Bellies throughout Smith Park in single, double, and triple bin configurations. The single bins are shown in green. These are recyclable only bins proposed to be placed by dugouts. The thought behind this is that players typically drink water and other beverages in recyclable containers. The double bins are concentrated around picnic areas, and the triple bins are located at Smith Park's 2 concession stands to allow for organic waste disposal. Finally, this layout, coupled with Big Belly's equipped technology, was designed to improve operational efficiency by collecting trash when needed. For example, staff's analysis estimates that waste collection frequency will decrease from approximately 61 to 8 times per month, an 87% reduction, potentially freeing about 480 labor hours per month, which can be reallocated to other park maintenance activities. The cost to purchase 50 Big Bellies is approximately $287,000. Staff found that this purchase is justified as current ongoing expenditures are roughly $234,000 per year, while implementing Big Belly estimates cutting annual waste collection costs to about $50,000 per year, allowing for the city to break even in approximately a year and a half. This table shows how Pico Rivera continues to be a leader in sustainability and the environment. While the city strives to be more efficient, we also look to do our part in caring for our environment and leaving it better than how we found it. Currently, the city is sending approximately 582,000 gallons of trash per year to landfills. However, with the implementation of Big Belly, staff anticipates reducing trash disposal by 52%. This is possible by introducing recycling bins at Smith Park, which estimates increasing recycling by 260%. Equally important, the city estimates to decrease plastic bag use by 30,000 bags annually. Its vehicles miles traveled by 9,700 miles per year, and reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 7.6 tons annually at Smith Park alone. The Office of Sustainability finds that this proposed pilot program allows the city to meet state-mandated goals, improve operational efficiency, and further environmental stewardship. And this is all possible through non-general funds. In other words, non-general fund will help alleviate the general fund from waste collection activities. The city will continue on the path to meet state-mandated goals and make Pico Rivera an environmentally sound place for families to live, work, and play. Finally, this proposal is a pilot program. Staff aims to test the Big Bellies at Smith Park, collect information, adjust as necessary, and report back to the City Council in 1 year. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the pilot program at Smith Park, award a purchase agreement to Big Belly for 50 smart waste bins not to exceed $286,682, and appropriate $287,000 from the unassigned fund of 671 towards this effort. Here we have some images from 3 different cities. When we have visited some of these surrounding cities that have big bellies and even gone through Google Maps, we noticed that the areas surrounding big bellies are generally clean. Rafael Garcia from Big Belly and I are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Great.
I'd like to add one thing, Mayor, City Council. Although we are calling it a pilot, there are many examples, like in Times Square, Long Beach, along Belmont Shore, where that it's actually proven successful. We do foresee this as being a successful pilot, but I just want to let you know that it's proven in other parts of the country.
So to clarify, we're looking to do a pilot program, Smith Park, a total of 50 trash containers, and they would be in sets of 3, which would be general refuse, recyclable materials, and a third?
For organic waste. And
Organic.
there would only be 2 3-bin configurations at Smith Park to be located immediately out in the vicinity of the concession stands.
Versus what we have now, which is basically oil container cans with plastic bags. And the moment they're filled up, they have to be emptied. And now these new ones actually compact the trash.
Exactly. And part of the operational efficiency research that we've done was that while some trash were full, because there are no sensors, staff has to do routine pickups about 14 times per week. Sometimes collecting trash when they're full, others when they're not. They're about 5 to 10% full.
Okay. Yes.
Just real quick, as the city manager alluded to, it was effective in other areas. In those other areas, were they parks?
No, they're actually major tourist attraction, but I do believe they're in parks in other communities throughout the country.
Yeah, so we reached out to cities such as Monrovia, Whittier, and found that their waste collection activity through Big Belly was improved after they implemented that.
Yeah, I could see that inside the ball diamonds and the dugouts where you can recycle the Gatorade, the water bottles, and things of that nature.
Councilman Dr. Sanchez?
Yes, I saw there's a design on the samples from the other cities. Will we be able to designate what type of design, or does the company just pick something that's instructions on what goes where?
Yeah, we'd be able to, if that is a desire to have a design, we can actually incorporate that. But one of the other things we're going to explore is how we can monetize that with maybe a sponsorship. So those are some of the things that we will discuss with council to see which direction they'd like to go in.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
So just walk me through the finances of this. So you're asking the council to appropriate $287,000 for these bins. So it's my understanding that Senate Bill 1383 has a fee for organic waste that's collected, and that there's a pot of monies. And so this pot of monies is going to be used, it's set aside for items like this. That's going to be used to purchase these bins, correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is the fee structure that we brought back to council that was adopted not too long ago.
So then my obvious next question is this money coming from general fund?
It is not coming from general fund.
Okay, great. So this project is in line with the monies that have been set aside specifically for this purpose. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Camacho?
Yeah, and the Senate Bill 1383 has, as we all know, pushed us in a direction that everyone at home and all the businesses have to now separate organics. You can no longer put in your brown container or black container, but rather in your green container with your grass. It's quite a process, and I think it's, a learning curve for all of us, and we've heard it, but this is part of that process, and the fact that that bill and the Senate and the state has basically pushed us to begin to recycle up to 75% by 2025. This is a good step in that direction, and as the question was posed by the Mayor Pro Tem, the fact that it's not coming from general fund monies, fees that we're collecting from this bill is appropriate to start this program. I think it's something that will give an opportunity to continue educating the community of what you have to do at home, you know? And I think this is a good step. I would add, though, that if possible, I looked at the site map as to the locations of the bins, whether it be these new Big Valley ones, but also the tin ones. I noticed that over at where the football field is at, the turf, over by the scoreboard, there was some, bless you, there are none anymore. I know a lot of parents do wait for their kids, myself included, when they play soccer. So maybe consider putting maybe one back there by the, because they will be close to any one of them.
On the school district side or our side?
It would be, based on the map, it'd be on our side in that area, but either way, I think that would be my only suggestion on those things. But other than that, I think this is a great direction and what we must do based on the state mandate. So thank you for that.
Great. Thank you, Director Farrar. Thank you for all that. And I'll move to close the discussion, and if we can have a motion.
I'll move, Mr. Mayor.
All right, and do we have a second?
Second.
Very good. So we have a motion to approve item 14, Councilmember Garcia, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Lara. And Madam City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
Yes.
Mayor Lutz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, that is the final item of the regular agenda. We'll move on to City Manager reports. Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Mayor and City Council, just really quick, I wanted to bring your attention to one item that recently happened today. It appears we have some folks going around the community stating that they're going to be installing, or they'd like to install water filtration systems. They are not certified by the city. They're stating that the city had sent them out. Here's some pictures of some of the folks that are going around our community. Lieutenant Hernandez and a code enforcement did make contact with them. We are getting a public information notice out shortly, just to kind of alert our residents to what's happening out there. So just wanted to bring that to the attention. Second item is just a reminder, Fiestas Patrias is this Friday. If you need some additional details, Pam is here to answer any questions on that.
Great, great. I have some questions about our Fiestas Patrias for this Friday. If Director Ugar, if you can tell the public from what time to what time are they able to participate in the fun and the festivities for free?
Let me just get the flyer.
You have 3 minutes.
You put me on my spot. We'll be there from 5 to 10. The music will be every hour on the hour. So, and we will have a nice presentation around 7. So that would be great. We have mariachis. We also have, what are they called, Steve? Those lucha libres. Yes, the lucha libres. We have a boxing event that will have 2 different times. So there'll be different kinds of things. It's a different setup than our Summer Street Fest. So it's going to be really interesting, the setup. So it's not what the community is used to. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm pretty excited about it. And we still have a beer garden. There'll be a VIP area, lots of great music, and lots of fun.
So a variety of entertainment for all of our residents.
Yes.
And those from the surrounding area.
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Mayor, there's still a spot for the Lucha Libre if you like.
I can get you a mask.
And just to let the public know, I believe the Lucha Libre ring will be on the opposite end of the typical concert stage. So that would be closer to the senior center, correct, Mr. City Manager?
It's closer. It's directly like in front of if you were walking from the skate park. So just to the left of the senior center as you're walking to the Summer Street Fest stage, the typical.
Got it, okay. So
We've got about 30 different vendors as well. We've got lots of food trucks. Should be a really good time.
we're excited. We're excited. All right. So that concludes those items for the city
thank you,
manager's
Gabe.
report. All right. Okay, great. And now we'll move on to the good of the order, AB 1234 reports, new business and old business, and we'll start with Councilmember Garcia, Councilmember Dr. Sanchez, and move on that direction. Mr. Garcia, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. For good of the order 1234, I do want to disclose, I was at a training in San Diego with Contract Cities. Hats off to the sessions and the workshops that they've been providing throughout the year. They've just been simply outstanding. Second is I had an opportunity to attend National Night Out to our Sheriff's Department. Job well done. Our Go-Getter softball game, we gotta really work this next time around. But the highlight was Mayor Pro Tem Lara. He smacked one out into right field.
He did.
That was the highlight of the game there. But they take it real serious, very serious. But I also had an opportunity to attend the opening day ceremony with the Dons and Donnas, with some of my colleagues. The community backpack giveaway at Pico Park, a job well done. With my colleague Monica Sanchez, we attended the breakfast at Rancho High School for the back-to-school event, some ribbon cuttings here in the city of Pico Rivera, Los Amores de Julia. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the transformation inside that facility, it's just amazing. You really have to check it out. AYSO opening day ceremony, and those who celebrated the 100th birthday with the resident here in Pico Rivera, Rosa Flores. A shout out to our Sheriff's Department again. Fire Station 25, we had a couple of car clubs. Some of our veteran community members came out, residents, to make Rosa's 100th birthday party a special one. And to our team here, our media team who went out there and captured the moment. We really appreciate that. Ben, please share that. Also, I had a chance to play some pickleball at Rivera Park on Wednesdays. I'll tell you, if you played ping pong, you're gonna love it. It's really a great sport if you get a chance to play pickleball. Any size, any shape, and when you're playing doubles, you really don't get that much winded. So if I can do it, anybody could do it. Second is the Summer Street Fest. Hats off to our Parks and Rec Department, our Public Works Department for an amazing job. There was a recommendation from some of the residents who asked about a 50-50 raffle, if that's something we can incorporate in the future, just as a thought down the line. The other, it's good to see Commissioners Pat and Tommy here. Thank you for your service. And along with my colleague, Dr. Sanchez, as you know, we had some incidents that occurred, unfortunately, where there was some house parties where it just got out of control on social media. And we would like to collaborate and maybe look at an ad hoc to coordinate with our city manager to look at ordinances that maybe that we can strengthen and tighten up. And Dr. Sanchez has come up with a couple of leads that maybe we can defer to an ad hoc if possible.
Definitely, I will second that. In communication with our city manager and our city attorney, I'm aware that have been, I'm not sure if it's state law or other city ordinances that they call social host ordinance. And the purpose is to prevent house parties, essentially, or flyer parties where alcohol or drugs are being provided to minors, or not even just minors, but anyone under 18, because in order to drink alcohol or even smoke cigarettes or cannabis, legally they must be 21 or older. So in an occurrence in Pico Rivera, there was a house party that got out of control, and there were minors in that attendance. So in order to provide the sheriff and our law enforcement greater effort, we need to give them the tools in order to enforce that and just prevent that from happening here.
So, my last one, and we'll come back if we can refer, if you need a motion to refer to ad hoc, Mr. Mayor. But the last one is, we'll move over to Smith Park and look at the turf over on the field there. I've been approached by our sports organizations who utilize the turf there at Smith Park, whether it's our AYSO, it's our Dons and Donnas, now our Rancho football team, due to the renovation going on over here, we know there's heavy usage. We know that turf is maybe about 10 years old. There's a lot of wear and tear there. Folks are using it more consistently now than ever. I'm concerned about the safety concerns there, the liability issues that may come up with that. And I would like to see if we can move this to the unfunded list and prioritize it to move it at the top of the list to avoid any liabilities and concerns when it comes to Smith Park on that. And I appreciate any support from my colleagues on this request.
Second that.
Very good. All right. Councilmember Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you. I do want to disclose for AB 1234, I was able to attend the California Contract Cities Fall Summit with my colleagues, Councilmember Camacho and Garcia. And it was an excellent workshop over the weekend, many workshops, but one important one that I want to bring up was it was maximizing our Inflation Reduction Act funds for our community. And those are federal dollars that are coming out from new legislation, bipartisan legislation. And I know that our staff are probably already all over it, but this is really important because more funding will be coming down to the city for many things, from medical, reducing the cost of your prescription medication, to infrastructure, to so many things. So we are waiting instructions on that, and I'm sure our staff are already all over that, trying to secure some funding for us. And we are really proud because our Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, she was present to present this information, but not only is she present, she is actually one of the individuals that writes and pushes for this type of legislation. So we are proud that she represents us, and she also sits on the Ways and Means Committee. She's a longtime Congress member, and so we are really proud and privileged when we go to these conferences to have such leadership and presence at these events. So it's really exciting to go and see. There's a number of city councils across the state that come up to us and our congresswoman and ask us about our street racing ordinance, our legislation, our how do we get so many grants, about our parks, about our mobile home rent control ordinance. So we get so many questions from other council members and from other cities. And so we are really proud whenever we go, and we wear our polo shirts that say Pico Rivera. And so rest assured, we're well represented, and it's really exciting to go see. I wish everybody could see this type of event that we come together. And then I also wanted to report I was able to attend the with a delegation from our sister city, Mazatlan. They had a day of touring our facilities that are of interest, and particularly one that I attended with them was a visit to the LA County Sanitation District. And that is basically where our water is clean, distributed, and there are so many projects there, so that was wonderful. And one of the engineers was able to conduct a tour completely in Spanish, and it was really impressive, and they were also really impressed. So it's great to work with our sister city, and it's important for that information to be shared. They share information with us as well, so it's not just about cultural exchange, but also about what we're doing about flooding and water contaminants and water conservation and the environment. There's a lot of issues that we discussed and a lot of things that they asked us about. And I want to reiterate, I'm a big supporter of sister cities, and I don't see why we shouldn't have more than our few right now. Definitely support more, and I would like to even be involved in that. I was able to participate in that during my time as a Parks Commissioner, so I'm excited about that. I want to say congratulations to our staff, and thank you so much for our successful Summer Street Fest. I was able to attend the last one with Osomatli and Malo Manes. It was wonderful, a huge turnout. How many people attended that one? Estimated. 15,000, wow. Well, thank you. What a successful event. Everybody gave great kudos, and what a way to kick off. And looking forward to El Grito this Friday. I think it's also important, not just for fun in the festival, but it's an opportunity to provide cultural information that El Grito is actually the Mexican Independence Day. The 16 de septiembre is, Cinco de Mayo is not our Mexican Independence Day, contrary to popular belief. But I was born here. I was not born in Mexico, and I think it's great. I love to have this cultural enrichment, and it's going to bring up a conversation like, why are we doing this? And what is El Grito? And why are we doing it in September and not in May? And so I love that it brings up this conversation of our cultural heritage and the importance of why we are doing these things. And then I wanted to mention that I also was able to attend the AYSO opening day and a Dons pep rally with the Dons and the Donnas at Rivera Park. And that was great to see. I had an opportunity to speak to some of the cheerleaders and share about my experience on city council and what are some things that I do in that park. So that's about it. I did want to mention regarding the historic Whittier Boulevard era project. One thing that I mentioned to regarding sustainability is there's also a concern about air pollution with cars, because not only are they vulnerable to being run over, but there's, along with traffic comes the pollution, right? And so if we could potentially look into things that we can do to help mitigate that, and that goes along with our Office of Sustainability as well, and I'm happy to support that. And I think that's it for me.
Very good. Thank you for that. And now Mayor Pro Tem Lara.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize the Pico Rivera Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Jorge Juarez. The item that we voted on today, the MOU, I think just strengthens our commitment as a city council, as a city as a whole, with the relationship that we have with the chamber. Thank you. I want to recognize our planning commissioner and our Parks and Rec commissioner. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you for everything you do for us and for the city as a whole. Going along with my fellow colleague, Dr. Monica Sanchez, I too managed to participate in the Mazatlan delegation. That was, thank you for organizing that, Councilmember Camacho. One thing that really struck me that they were asking about and they wanted to talk about was the effects of climate change on their community. And right when they were here, there was a large storm that had hit Mazatlan. And you could tell that they were here, but they weren't here. And I understand that because we just had a large tropical storm hit the city of Pico Rivera. And so I think as we've seen climate change progress, now we're seeing the effects of it. And we're seeing not only is it here in Mexico, but in other places like Libya, we're seeing that even Greece, right? We're seeing it's not the amount of rain, but it's the amount of rain over such a short period of time that's creating problems. And that's what I fear about our city, given that we know that we're butt up against the Whittier Narrows Dam, but it's not, and the Army Corps of Engineers tells us, it's not that water's gonna overflow the dam, but water's gonna overflow the spillways on the sides, right? And I just want us to think about that because we, as a community, still need to finalize our evacuation plan. And I just want to put that out there, and that's something we need to get to. That's something we need to finish so that we do our part as elected officials to ensure that there's an evacuation plan for our community. Going along with that, just lastly, I'd like to thank Parks and Recs for everything they've done for this summer street fest. That was just fantastic. You had people talking about the city of Pico Rivera. Thank you. And I think that's a great idea. Councilmember Garcia about the 50/50. Yeah, that's an amazing idea, right? It must be a Dodger fan. Right? Yeah, and I think maybe we could split some of that for some of our organizations in like scholarships or what have you. Do something a little different. But I know. I saw. I didn't see the nod. I didn't see the nod of it. I saw someone like, uh-oh. You know. Lastly, 2 items is the go-getters. I'd like to talk about maybe city managers. This might just be under your purview of putting together just a trophy to honor. You know, if we win, it comes here. If they win, it goes to the senior center, and it just kind of goes back and forth. I think something just physical to just commemorate that. Lastly, just another, also again to Parks and Rec, I noticed that we're doing a basketball camp for 5 and 6 year olds for skills development, and I just really want to highlight that. I think that's great. I'd like to see it for older kids too, but we start there. We start with 5 and 6 year olds because then they migrate over to the youth league, right? So thank you for everything everyone's doing, and it's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Councilmember Camacho?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. You know, as we've talked about Office of Sustainability, I just want to highlight the fact that we're one of the few cities that actually has an office, the Department Office of Sustainability. As we talk about Cal Recycle and organics and Prime, we procure our own energy. It's something that really setting us apart from many cities, and there's much more to come. We just approved not too long ago a partnership with folks from Tesla to, you know, talk about battery storage and solar and so forth. That I think that's a highlight that we need to recognize that we're the only ones that have that. So thank you for that, City Manager, for bringing that forward. As it relates to the go-getters, which I enjoy a game every year, and as was mentioned, there was a highlight. Our Mayor Pro Tem did hit that ball quite strong, but I think the other highlight is that we didn't strike out. At least for me, that's the only thing. My goal is I don't want to strike out in softball, because I just, you know, but you know, that's, you know, that was my highlight. So I'll take that one. But in going along with the Summerfest, I think, you know, it's important to recognize as well that we are one of the few cities that also produces this level of entertainment of any other cities. I mean, others call it, we consider the park, that we did many years ago. Now we call it huge productions, but we love it because the community loves it, and there's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of that goes behind the scenes, and at the end of the day, with all the partnership of all the departments led by Parks and Recs and law enforcement, it's a safe family gathering that's been going on for many years, and we want to continue the tradition. We had 3 this year. And as we talk about El Grito de la Independencia in Pico Rivera, this is our 2nd year we've done it. So in essence, it's a continuation of the Summerfest, but in partnership with the organization called HUA, Asociación de Jaliscienses Unidos, that we've been able to continue, as was stated by my colleagues, you know, to be able to celebrate our culture, our heritage, and really just understand how the value of this, how we're all connected somewhere or another. And it's many highlights, much entertainment, mariachi, cumbias, banda, lucha libre. I mean, just there's a little bit of everything that I think is going to be great for our community. But as we talk about these successes, I'd be remiss not to recognize an individual that unfortunately has retired. Ephraim Lee was with us in our city for 22 years exactly. And he was an instrument to the success of the Summerfest because he's been around quite, again, 22 years. And modest, humble individual that somehow, some way still inspired his team to work hard and build success and produce quality events throughout. So although he's not with us, because again, he's a modest individual, I just wanted to highlight the fact that we thank him, congratulate him, and wish him all the best in his retirement. So thank you, Ephraim Lee, for all you've done for the city of Pico Rivera. Highlighting one, as well as the new restaurant in Pico Rivera, Los Amores de Julia. One of the things if you haven't been there, highly recommend it. Definitely spent an investment from the owner the residents over the years have wanted more sit-down restaurants. And although we have a lot of fast food restaurants that do generate revenue for us, we want to do more sit-down restaurants. And, unfortunately, through popular belief that somehow we have a say as to the amount of the type of restaurants coming here, it doesn't work that way. It's a private market that we have a say in conditional use permits and so forth, so on, but we don't own the land. So, when people say, well, why'd you bring that business, not this business? It's not as simple as that. But the reality is, as we highlighted today with the presentation about the historic Whittier Boulevard, that is what we're trying to do to attract more sit-down restaurants amongst many other quality establishments. But we had to set the plan, and Los Amores Julia's an example of that. In addition, I wanted to talk about the fact that as mentioned, I too attended the California Contract Cities Fall Summit, of which many subjects, as was highlighted by my colleagues, homelessness, housing, legislative update, the Inflation Reduction Act, amongst many other subjects. So it was well attended. We continue to learn and educate so we know what's happening today and be able to plan better for tomorrow. Lastly, going along the same lines with my colleagues as relates to, we have speakers talking about Chapala, which I've been many times. It's like the Lake Tahoe of in California. It's beautiful. I believe the title that they gave it is La Eterna Primavera, so the eternal spring. The weather's perfect, and I think it's great that we highlight it. I want to say, as was stated, we had a delegation from Mazatlan that visited, and we had the privilege of hosting individuals here, which we were able to give them a presentation of the city, visited many other public agencies and businesses. And I think it's important to build these relationships. Not too long ago, we had Tlajomulco as our newest sister city, and I think we need to explore many other opportunities. I want to say, though, that I've had the opportunity to engage a conversation with Puerto Vallarta and with the president there, and we do want to explore that opportunity as well. So I actually want to recommend that we put together a ad hoc committee on Sister City. We reactivated our Sister City Commission. We do have a Sister City committee, but I would love to ask my colleagues in consensus second.
I'll second.
Thank you for us to have this Sister City ad hoc committee to explore the discussion not only for Puerto Vallarta, but for Chapala as well, to get this going, but that is it for me.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to add, I'd like to be part of that. We also do have, I discovered a friendly city last year when I was mayor. I can't remember the name of the city right now, but in Armenia.
That's right.
And so I would like to be involved in that. What's the difference between sister versus friendly, and who else out there do we have, and who else wants to be?
Thank you, Councilman Wright. I think it would be appropriate for you and I to sit on this committee, as you have been there as a Parks and Recs Commissioner, but also led the effort to Sister City with Tlajomulco. So, and then we can explore the opportunities as we go from there.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Camacho. And now my items of AB 1234. I did attend with my colleagues the California Contract Cities Fall Summit, and that was a two-day event where we covered topics of importance for our respective city and the general region, which is homelessness, housing for ownership, business licenses, and of course, one very important topic, crime reduction. We want to keep our cities safe, so that was good that we're going to be able to collaborate with cities around Pico Rivera and within our city limits to reduce crime and increase our housing and help out those that are in a situation of homelessness. I also attended another summit, which was the Gateway Cities Summit, and that was a board meeting and as well. And again, we covered the topics of homelessness, business licenses, crime reduction, and housing, so that as well was an important topic. I did also want to address that I had the opportunity to visit Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico, and tour the resort town with the mayor. and that is Mayor Alejandro Aguirre Curiel. And I was able to see how the operation is run, how the safety is taken care of in the city, and how he runs that resort town and how it's growing tremendously. And what struck me as a public servant wanting to add more value to our residents here in Pico, specifically our students who have just graduated from the high schools, is that there is now a satellite campus of the University of Guadalajara in Chapala. And the reason why that's important, because that university is one of the most prestigious in Mexico. And we now have the ability, you know, with this new ad hoc that I'll go ahead and approve, where we can have Councilmember Sanchez and Councilmember Camacho head, where we can actually have our students go out there and attend and do a semester there. You know, it'll get them more robust when it comes to their heritage, and then they come back just knowing a lot more. And there's nothing like having young, smart Pico Rivera adults that are just starting off their adulthood now with that much more culture that they can acquire from a sister city like Chapala, Puerto Vallarta, Tlacomulco, and the others that we have like San Luis Potosí and Mazatlan. So these are all opportunities for our residents and our students in our city to grow. And so I was looking forward to that new ad hoc that we're gonna go ahead and approve, and I'll go ahead and square that away for the upcoming meeting, and then we'll add that, Mr. City Manager, as an agenda item. And so that was, I have to say, a great experience, and I look forward to going out there as well. And I encourage the rest of my colleagues to go out there to each of the sister cities and experience the culture that the rest of our residents can experience as well. The other item I did want to discuss was the AYSO Soccer Grand Opening Day. We all had, my colleagues and I had an opportunity to be a part of the biggest, I would imagine, sporting league that we have in the entire city. It is the largest, and we saw thousands and thousands of parents and team members and coaches out there. It was a great experience to be out in Smith Park and be a part of that opening day. The other item that I wanted to express my gratitude to the Chamber of Commerce and the city staff, it was the grand opening of our newest business. And we've had a total of 3 restaurants open up, but the most recent one was Los Amores de Julia. And that's in our shopping center there, the Pico Rivera Shopping Center. And let's not exclude a Santo Fish and El Chelito that recently opened at the beginning of the year. And so we'd love for all our residents and visitors alike to come out and enjoy the great food that we have with those 3 different restaurants that we have in our city. I also want to encourage our residents to fill out the Historic Whittier Boulevard survey on our website, the Pico Rivera website, or the Pico Rivera app, which is pico-rivera.org. You fill out that website, fill out the survey on the website regarding the Pico Rivera Historic Whittier Boulevard, and also we encourage you to participate in what the future is of the city. If you fill out the survey at the local booth that we have at our upcoming event on Friday, you're going to get one of these tote bags, which has the Pico Rivera Historic Whittier Boulevard emblem. And it's great to use at the store or just to carry anything that you want all around town or at the beach, right? And
Question, so if they fill out the survey online, how do they get this bag?
well, if they fill it online, they're just going to be a part of participating on the direction and the future of our city. But if they come out to our free event on Friday and fill out the survey out there, they'll definitely get a tote bag, okay, while supplies last. Yes. Other than that, I did want to ask city staff and Parks and Rec director if we can have a conversation with the need for the Donnas. They are looking for an area where they can practice their intricate moves in a safe environment. And I understand that they don't have ample room currently at Rivera Park, so if there is an opportunity to explore that conversation and provide space, I'd like to see if we can help them with that. Yeah? Very good, okay. And with that, I do want to close in memory of a couple of residents, and before we go to our closed session, and with that,
Mr. Mayor, before you do close, with all respect, is there anything I need to close on my end when I ask for a second on my two requests?
No.
We're good? Okay.
yes, in respect to the ad hocs, which is the safety ad hoc and the sister city ad hoc, we'll go ahead and for the next meeting, I believe will be the 26th, we can include the official inclusion of the two new ad hocs and the continuation of existing ad hocs. So we'll do to review the sister city ad hoc, and I do want to say that I'd like to, for the upcoming council meeting on the 26th, if I could get a second on that, we can discuss reviewing, adding Chapala and Puerto Vallarta as our fourth and fifth sister cities. If we can get a second on that.
Mr. Mayor, that would be that's what the ad hoc's for, so we can have those conversations first.
Yes, yes.
So we'll have those conversations, and then we'll.
Very good, very good. Okay, so with that, I'd like to close in memory of Pico Rivera resident Mundo Navarez. And of course, I'd also like to close in memory of those victims that lost their lives on 9/11 in the year of 2001. We can bow our heads in memory of those that we have lost. With that, Mr. City Attorney, can you kindly take us to closed session?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Be appropriate to recess into closed session.